iLead at EC3. Juniors learning to become the leaders of tomorrow. Doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Get out of your way to make someone else's day. Work harder than anyone else. Protect your integrity. And be kind. iLead at EC3.
I am the Superintendent of Hardin County Schools. I tell you that because they tell me I need to. This is my 33rd year in Hardin County. I started as a special ed teacher, and then a regular ed teacher, and then an assistant principal, director of elementary curriculum, and then superintendent. So I didn't start here and immediately go here. There were a lot of steps in between. This is phenomenal to be with this group today. You're going to be doing a lot of talking and sharing with one another. The first thing I need you to do, in case you haven't done it, is on the sheet of paper I gave you, I wanted you to choose a different colored sheet of paper that reflected to you, and I want you to put this piece of paper someplace where you can occasionally come across it. Because what I want you to do now is inside the book, and this is my favorite kind of book, because it's very short, very sweet, and you really don't have to read all of it, okay? You don't have to read it from front to back. But if you look on page 25, it starts with all the different strengths that you may have. So I want you to find the 5 strengths that you found through doing the Strengths Finder. And I just want you on the sheet of paper that you have, I want you to write down your 5 strengths. And then I want you to write just a couple of words that tells you what that means. What does that say about you and what your strengths are? So your 5 that you have, and then look them up inside the book and tell me what that says about you. If you need help knowing what 5 you have as strengths, let me know and I will help you find those. And again, you're just writing a couple of words to help you identify. You don't have to write the whole thing. All right, if you're still working, go ahead and your colleagues around you can take a look at this. What I want you to do is to look up here at what's on the overhead, and I want you to share in your group, what does this picture say to you? So if you can't read it from the back, for a fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So in your group, talk about what you think of that picture and what it says to you. And we will start with the person who is sitting closest to me. So look at your table, figure out who is sitting closest to me, and that is the person who is starting. Does it seem right? Seem fair? Seem like the best way to do things? Okay. Do you think it's limited to just test?
I think it's limited to like everything, even like how we learn things. It's not for everybody.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. Will you be willing to speak in just a moment? Oh, good. Have you all had a chance to share yet?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, if you would listen to a couple of your colleagues, because I'm going to come to you next, okay? My fault. Listen to a couple of your colleagues of what this says to them.
To me, what this was saying is like, especially like in school and stuff, like we all take the same type of classes, we all have the same type of way we're taught things, but it's not for everybody. Like for this exam, it's saying everybody has to climb the tree. Well, that fish is not really going to be able to climb the tree because it faces its own challenges. So we all have our own challenges. So it should be like formed around what our strengths are and not just putting everybody at the same thing.
Excellent, thank you. All right, and what did you or your table say here?
We said that it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Like not everyone is fit for like everything in life, and based on your strengths is how well you will succeed in life.
Right. So I just knew when I was in school that I wanted to be a nurse. That's what I knew I wanted to do. My mother always said, oh, I was never a nurse. I want you to be a nurse. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then I took my nephew, and I was probably 12, 14 years old. He went to get his some shots, and he was in my lap. And the next thing I know, I'm on the floor, and they're putting my feet over my head because as they gave him a shot, I passed out on the floor. So it was very obvious to me that I was not going to be a nurse in that type of what I thought a nurse did. I didn't realize there were all different components of nurses, but I immediately knew that wasn't what I was going to do simply because of that situation, because it was not going to be my talented area. So what you have to look at is, what are your talents? And what I want you to discuss in your group this time is, why is it important in your groups when you're working on projects and when you go to college, why is it important for you not to always surround yourself with someone who has the exact same talents? Why does it benefit you to surround yourself with people with different talents? And this time I want to start with the person who has a birthday closest to today speaks first. So figure out very quickly in 10 seconds or less who has the birthday closest to today. And by the way, you can go backwards or forwards. If it is your birth date that is closest to today, raise your hand when you figured it out. Awesome, that's the person going first. Please share why it benefits you to be with people who have different talents.
You can learn those things, you can get good at those things, they can get good at the things that you do, and you can all grow collectively, and you can compete within each other and grow up everybody else.
Excellent. All right, listen to your colleagues and what they are going to share that they discussed at their table. I'll let you take it.
Okay. At our table, we discussed how learning from people with different viewpoints or personalities can help you form a more well-rounded opinion, because you're able to see different people who come from different backgrounds, who have different opinions. They might all have a different way to solve a problem than you do, and it can help you find the best way to solve a problem.
Excellent.
We talked about like if you're surrounded by the same talents, you really don't grow in anything other than what you're already good at.
Exactly. So it sort of also identifies your maturity to be okay with somebody else having strengths. And the more you expand your horizons, the more you move away from the people that you normally sit with every day. I challenge you at lunch one day, sit with someone different just to hear their conversations. This is one of the things that most people will tell you is lost right now. Even if you disagree with one another, you don't want to say it because you don't know what the fallout is going to be from that. So we try to have these conversations to where it's okay to be different, and you can't get angry because you have a different point of view or you have different life experiences. But that is to benefit you. How many of you, as you were going through the table of contents, found a strength that you wish you had? Look at the list. And what I want you to do is to find the one strength that did not come up as your strength, but you're like, man, that's the one I think I would like to have the most, that I really don't already have, but I think it would be one that would really benefit me. Or maybe you thought it should have come out as your strength.
It's winning others over. Like, I have it, like, I've been initiated.
All right, listen to the one that she wished she had. I asked you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome.
For the one that I wish I had, I would use positivity, because I think a lot of times when like a situation or something happens, I'll not think about like the bright side of it, and I'll just focus on the negatives instead of looking at the bigger picture and how it could benefit me in the future.
Excellent. Excellent. Is that one you can work on?
Yes.
Yes. So as we look at this, while we have the picture up there, we know some things are not possible. We know for sure that no matter how much we teach that fish is never going to climb that tree, right? It's never going to happen. We also know that that poor elephant is never going to fly. No matter how big its ears are, and no matter what movie you saw called Dumbo, it's just not going to happen. However, some of these you can learn. You just need to realize it's not your first switch. It's not one you generally go to, and you might have to work at it a little more. Which one did you come up with?
I said empathy, just like seeing yourself in someone else's shoes, able to like feel for what they feel and how they might feel, like how would you feel in that situation, and just being able to understand them better as a whole.
Excellent. What profession do you think of it would be extremely important to have empathy?
Like a therapist or psychologist, you know, just it helps you like relate to them better and knowing like what to do for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And quite honestly, probably any position you go in other than being maybe someone who lives in the basement who has no relationships with anyone else, empathy is a wonderful thing, because it doesn't mean you have sympathy. It doesn't mean you don't have expectations. It simply means you can say, I see where they're coming from. I understand because of maybe their life experiences, they think this way, but I think differently. So what I want you to do now is you're going to mix up with different people in the room. As a matter of fact, you can't be with anybody at your table, but I want you to find somebody else who has at least one other same characteristic as you. Find someone who has at least one that is the same as yours.
Okay.
All right, within the group, and it can be 2, 3, 4 people, but you have to have at least one characteristic in common with that person or that group, and move to a table. If you 3 are together, just move to a different table to have that discussion. You guys can stand around the table in the back. What I want you to discuss in your group is, how does that trait benefit you, either in school, family, church, home? How does that benefit you? So who is somebody who has woo? W-O-O, woo. And that stands for winning others over. So if I were thinking about that, Mr. Thompson, what would you see as the benefits of having woo?
Able to make friends or kind of fit into any situation. If I needed help in math, I would probably find one of the smartest people in the math class and try to win them over as a friend so that I could get extra help.
Very strategic thinking there, but that helps people in life in general. It also probably helps you with your parents to be able to win them over to your point of view. So I'm going to ask you to discuss in your group, what is the one characteristic you have in common, and how does that benefit you? Is that the one you all had in common?
That's the one I had in common with him. I didn't have like none.
Are there any others?
No.
How interesting is that?
Groups over there. I think woo anyways.
All right, hopefully you have had a chance to discuss. I'm going to ask Catherine and Reese to share how they found how they found that these work for them. So tell us the characteristic.
We both had discipline, and we like realized that we're both very structured. Like we keep a daily plan, or like we make sure that we get all of our things that we need to get done completed. But we also talked about how like it works with like our future goals as well, because we like work to stay on that path to achieve the goal.
Excellent. Do you have anything different?
No, that was pretty much it.
Awesome. All right, we have two people here who have.
Woo. Chad and I had woo. Woo. I think it helps a lot. Like, that's how I met Chad, actually, last year in science. Like, we just approached each other. Because we were the most probably extroverted people in the class. Like, everyone else would just sit back and, like, not do anything. And then we started talking, and then, like, we got a lot closer. And then here we are now.
Awesome. Do you have anything to add?
It really, like, helps you to reach out to people, you know, like people whom you might know might not, like, have help, you know, and have a connection.
Have a connection with. All right. What were the other ones that people had in common? What did you all come up with over here? What was your common?
We all had competition in common, and you could apply that to a lot of things in your life. But like for us right now, we're all in this program, and I mean, this is a pretty competitive program. We can be competitive within ourselves, and the fact that we competed with like other people in our school just to get in this program at all. And in life, you know, like if like whatever job you have, you can compete to move up against everybody else, you know, you just want to win.
Yes. There is a great place for competition. Not in everything, but in a lot of things. All right, what did you all have?
We're two.
Okay, I'm going to ask this group here. What did you all have?
We had. Which one do you want me to use? I was in both, really.
Use the one you used with this group.
Okay, yeah, we used competition.
Competition as well. What did you say is the advantages of having that skill?
Like competing, like whenever, whether it's like in life or anything, like,
You always want to like try and do better than like what you did before, or like do better than someone else so you can like achieve more in life.
I really appreciate that you brought it, competing amongst yourself, because if you play, and I hate to use another sports analogy, but golf, while you're competing against anybody else, nobody's playing defense against you. It's you and, you know, this little ball in a, you know, a little bit bigger hole, and yet you still find yourself competing against yourself each time, even though there's a bigger picture there. What did you all have?
We had consistency, and we said it was important because like going through life and like jobs and school, you have to be consistent with like your work and your effort that you put into stuff, so that way you can be successful.
Excellent. Do you agree? Mm-hmm. Awesome. What did you all have over here?
We had adaptability, and we said that it's just, you can be in the moment and kind of like a chameleon, you can be put in any situation and you can still fit in, and it doesn't, like small things don't throw you off that much.
Excellent. That's a great one to have. What did you all have?
Same thing, adaptability.
Oh, all four of you? I like the chameleon example there. That's fantastic. What did you all have?
So we were includers, and we basically said that like including is more of like building, like we both said like it helped us build relationships with our friends and like family, because of like, I feel like I see it as like empathy almost, like you're naturally going to like care and try and like bring in everyone you can, and like try and like delegate and like talk to multiple people so that they can feel included in everything.
Excellent. Excellent. That's one of great talent that I enjoy, because I liked when you all walked in here how you all went to your very comfortable spots. You sat with people you normally sit with. Well, as an includer, you're that first person to notice, hey, that person's sitting over there by themselves. I'll invite them over, or better yet, I'll just go sit where they're sitting. You want to make sure, and you sort of feel guilty if someone's not a part of it, and you notice that. Other people, believe it or not, will never notice that somebody's being left out, and your includers are going to make sure of that. So thank you. What did you all have?
So me and Olivia had harmony. So if like, for example, if you're at school and you and someone get in a fight, like you don't want to be on bad terms with that person. So you're always going to try to find a solution and make things work between you and someone else, or you're going to try to stop the conflict before it even happens.
Yeah. Do you think that causes a lot of internal stress by being that person?
I think it can sometimes, but I feel like once you like talk things out with the person, it's going to like bring your stress level way down.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, what'd you all have?
We had restorative, and it's that we love to solve problems and enjoy bringing things back to life.
Excellent. I appreciate that. So now what I want to talk to you about is how to deal with your weaknesses. And I don't want you to think of a weakness as a true weakness. I want you to think about it as needing to have an awareness that that's maybe not your strength, but you can learn from others of how that could benefit you. So as you look on that list, and we said, which one do you wish you had? How can you go about improving that? If you don't know it's a weakness, you're probably not going to be able to improve it. And if you were to take these and they scored you from 1, how many strengths were there? 35? 34? So if you were to score these, you have your top 5. Well, more than likely, you could also identify your bottom 5 and say, yeah, that's just not me. But there's ones that you really want to have. So when you start to do group activities, instead of saying, hey, this is the person, you know, Catherine and I do everything together, we have the exact same skills, you may want to think, I might need to find somebody who has this, because that's going to assist me in my group work. So what I want you to do at this time is I want you to look at, I asked this group over here, do you have another one besides woo? And they were like, no, that's the only one we had in common. So as common as you are with one person for one category, you're not going to be the same with that person in every category. So what I would like for you to do is I want you to find somebody else who has a different strength, the same as you, but it can't be the group that you're with now, okay? So find a different strength that you have with someone else.
Can they be from your original?
Yes, they can be from any group.
Except for this reason.
Now what I want you to do is again discuss the strengths of this topic that you have in front of you. How does it benefit you? All right, listen to your colleagues, because this at a later date may help you find the area that is not a strength for you, but it's a strength for them, and they can bring assistance to your group. What'd you come up with this
We
time?
had developer, and we said that we love to challenge others and help them grow, because there's always room for growth and someone is always growing. So we just love seeing that.
Excellent, excellent. All right, what did your group come up with?
We had positivity, and it just helps us. We can see the good even whenever, if something that's not so good happens, you can just move on and see that there's still good to come.
Yes. Who was the person who said they didn't have positivity and they wanted it?
McKenna.
All right, McKenna, you know which group to come with now, right?
Yes, I need to.
Excellent. All right, what did you all come up with?
We have communication, and we said that we like communicate with like our expressions and stuff with other people to better understand what like everyone else is going through, or like struggles that people may be having in life.
Excellent. Excellent. So what I wanted you to see, and the reason I asked Ms. Wright and Mr. Thompson to have you all to take the Strength Finder is, yes, to identify your strengths, but also when you use those strengths, you need to also realize everything can't be your strength. Everything is not equal, but it doesn't make you inadequate. It doesn't make you better than someone else, nor does it make you worse than someone else. It makes you have a skill set that will allow you to be very successful in other areas that your competition may not be there with. But the second part is, what are not your strengths? You may need to work on those, but you just need to realize that they will never probably be your top 5. The positivity thing, some people call it realistic, like, well, I'm not going to be positive, I'm going to be realistic. But she can start to work on that. And when you know what your strengths are not, you know what you can work on, which will assist you. So I do hope that you will take the book and just read through the little sections, especially your 5 strengths. And I do not encourage you to do this, but you can actually get on and pay like $39, and it will give you a whole bunch of other things that you can do. It'll give you steps to improve your weaknesses. But there's a book called Soar with Your Strengths, and that's what this is about. Taking your strengths, using those to the best of your ability, and then relying on others to help you bring up those strengths, or letting them take on that part of the task. Some of you had organizer, developer, and so visionary, futuristic, and some of you did not. So as you look around the room, just realize as you go through this world, as you leave EC3 and you get to a bigger picture, everyone you come in contact is going to have weaknesses compared to you, but they're also going to have strengths compared to you. So hopefully you will have that, I can't think of the right word, but that you will have that ability to say, hey, I value them for this. They're completely different than me. They may come from a different part of the United States than me, but I still value what they can bring to the table. So always keep that in mind. Everybody in this room has strengths, and you want to value everybody else's strengths, but you also want to value your strengths. All right? So thank you very much for today.